Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Stormies. This is the 2023 edition, which rewards all the hard work and effort you photographers put in to chasing in 2022. So these are the best images and portfolios from 2022. Right now, we're releasing our selections, and these are kind of the first pass, our favorite top 15, top 20, top 30 images in each of the categories. So the way we like to announce our selections is with a blog post and then a corresponding critique video where we're going to go through each of the images and kind of critique them, talk about what we love, talk about things you can work on. And all of these critiques, truly from the bottom of our hearts, are with the intention of trying to raise the game of storm photography everywhere, across the world. The three judges here, me, Dennis, and Linda, we are highly critical of our own work, and we've been doing this for quite a while now, and some of you have been doing it for a long time. Some of you have just started. And so all this feedback and all the ideas and thoughts we have are from years of experience and for trying to help everyone get better. I'm always trying to get better. Linda and Dennis, we're always trying to get better, trying to do better when we're chasing, trying to find better compositions, trying to learn how to maybe edit a little better. And it's things that we're hoping to pass on that will help elevate the game. So everything that we say here is meant to be helpful, encouraging, and to prepare you for this current season, 2023, which is already, kicking off in Australia from the photos I've seen, and spring is right around the corner. There's even been storms in Arizona already. So this is to prep you for that and to get you excited for this upcoming season of chasing and storm photography. So without further ado, here are our selections. So we are doing a photographer of the year. These are the 15 top photographers of the year. And we are going to start off with this portfolio. I can kind of zoom in just overall. I think we're going to, in this phase, be a little more brief with kind of the overall appearance and variety and stuff like that. But we know we got this person had this photo in our top, lightning photo of the year and photo of the year. So kudos to them. Quickly scrolling through them. I mean, I was there that day and never saw this. So this is really, a nice idea to stop and get a shot like that. Peaceful kind of scene. I actually like the composition with that, pond out there in the middle. Yeah, I don't know. There's a nice variety, clean kind of editing, except for maybe this one is pretty tough with the fencing and the lights and all that. But what a freaking gnarly looking storm. My gosh. Mm-hmm. This in there is just like, that's nice. A beautiful storm there. And this one's a little bit dark at night, but it's one of those ones you probably can't really do much about. So, congratulations to this person for making it to the top. Yeah, go for it.
One thing maybe that we can talk about a bit off the bat is like you're trying to submit a whole portfolio. So every image matters here. And if you have, let's go ahead and say you have 9 bangers and one image that's like, you're all right. It's not a terrible image, but maybe whatever, it's not your favorite. That will really hurt your portfolio. Yeah. So if you're thinking about that, these are like your best images. You have to really look at the foreground. You have to look at fences. You have to look at light poles and be like, okay, this is a cool image. The sky is absolutely amazing, but this junk in the foreground is hurting this image. Don't include it in your portfolio. That's just not a portfolio image. And I would then stress on top of that when you submit a portfolio, there should be some cohesion. You want a good show with good variety and storms, but you want to be able to see that it's all kind of from the same photographer. This kind of comes as you go along, but doing kind of crazy edits or, sometimes you get a feeling for another image that you might have seen and you're like, okay, add more this, make it darker, add a vignette. That's not really necessarily good for a portfolio to have these kind of different styles within it. Strong portfolios will have this kind of cohesive feeling to it. It's hard to teach that, but I think when you look at enough portfolios of people that if you're drawn to something, just as a person who doesn't know what a good portfolio is, you'll see what you're personally drawn to as a portfolio. And if you can kind of see for yourself what it is about that portfolio that sticks out to you, then maybe you can try to start applying that to your own editing, the way you select your images, the way you edit something, the way maybe there's a certain color palette that you keeps repeating itself, or something along these lines.
Agreed.
Anyway, I just wanted to share.
No, it's good. That's good. No, I mean, there's way more to a portfolio than just one thing and your best photos, and a good variety, and having a style, having something where people go, oh, I kind of know who that is. All right, here's our next one. Congratulations for making it top 15. Pretty nice variety, lots of color, good lightning. Nice, supercells, and overall, like the compositions, at a glance are real nice. Dennis, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, overall, great variety of storms, and the editing reflects every image. So you can, in my opinion, you can see here that's from the same photographer.
Great.
And yeah. And he tries to get his own style into his images. And she?
He or she, yeah.
I don't know.
No. I think this is a she, actually, but
okay.
But yeah, I agree.
But,
that they all kind of look like from the same photographers.
Great compositions there. So yeah. Okay, we talked about this one earlier. Yeah.
Yep.
But overall, absolutely great season, and lots of very, very great photos. And I appreciate that there are not every time the biggest storms and so not there's more to a good photo than just the badass storm. So
agree.
Oftentimes just the smaller storms and stuff is much more photogenic in a certain way. So yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay, Linda, this one, well, this is the one with our favorite house in the world.
Yeah. I see there's another shot like it next to it.
Yeah, there's another one with that.
Now, if you're gonna have two shots of that same storm that are taken some time apart, you want to try to make them look cohesive next to each other. Now, I know probably the shot with the bit of lightning was taken later.
Well, this shows the gust front almost over the house, so this one's a little later than that one.
Oh yeah, no, that makes
this sense. One. It's funny because this one actually doesn't look like it was edited as much as this one. So
yeah, well, so I would say make those kind of look more similar. If it was that orange under the storm front there, as it is in the image that we talked about, make the other one reflect that as well. Yeah. But overall, this portfolio is strong. Yeah. It's a lot of nice editing and a lot of great shots. There's a shot with this fencing on the left and the right of this road. I would say that this would be the least strong shot of that particular portfolio. Mm-hmm. But I can see that it all belongs to the same photographer, and it has similar types of editing. The editing isn't super overdone, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It looks like it almost has that same, I don't know what it is, a LP, the orange one.
Yeah, LP storm.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah. It looks similar to the other one that we saw earlier with the barn. It suffers from the same kind of bright areas where the sun is hitting that. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to make that roll off. But there are ways to do that. So I would investigate on learning how to improve those parts of the image, which can look a bit more harsh in relation to the rest of the image. But overall, I'm really quite a fan of this body of work.
Yeah, I think the overall, everything you said is right on, the editing and all that. I think that if I were going to submit for a portfolio, the only thing that I would change for this one is I would not have put another photo of the same house in there.
Yeah, the same. I wonder if those two LPs are also the same storm.
I'm pretty sure it's the same storm because after the sun went down, it was pretty blue. So that's the only thing is those two images. I would maybe, it's tough though. Our requirement is 10 images, and there may have been someone may not have had the chance to get out, and they're picking their.
That's right, but then that's called crap fitting. Don't
Yeah.
fill up your portfolio just because you have to submit a portfolio with 10 images. If you can't make it, then it's just going to hurt you to have.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to the next one, which has, all kinds of stuff. I would say the variety here is, I felt like there's a lot of variety, but then there's a lot of lightning, and but the sprite kind of adds a little bit of a different element to it. I'm going to scroll through these. Dennis, what do you think?
Yeah, as you said before, there's the variety here is a bit under average, I would say. We talked about some pictures earlier of this portfolio. Yeah, we like this one a lot. For example, okay, I would, a great year with coastal storms. So,
yes, that's right. That's right.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah. Overall, maybe for a storm photographer of the year, the variety is a bit too less. So maybe there would be a bit more, but single images in there are.
Yeah, some of them are amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So but the variety, would like a bit more cloud stuff in there, and more structure stuff, and a bit more.
Agreed.
Some of the editing is also a bit dark. I feel like these heavy vignettes on the second half of that portfolio.
I wish there would be a bit more color.
Yeah,
I mean, some of those images are really saturated. I don't know, but images 3 and 4, these are rather flat and grau in comparison.
Yeah,
not about. I don't mean saturation. I mean oranges, blues, and stuff. Just more natural light. It's just because there are so many lightning image shots in there. It's.
I gotcha. Okay, we'll move on to this next one, which is the one with the Saskatchewan epicness there. I would say that other than, this tornado's lightning shot, a lot of it is like we're talking about variety. A lot of these some of these are on the same day and stuff like that, and same look. But I mean, kudos and congrats to this person for seeing like the structure that they did this year. Or last year, I should say. Incredible storms and working real hard at trying to get good foregrounds. In some cases, this one's a little bit tough with the power lines, but you can see that they're attempting that. It's a nice tornado. That not sure where it was. The foreground is pretty shaky. And this panos work. Sometimes it's tough when you got a road like that kind of really points out that it's a pano. But that's just a spectacular gust front coming in. And I appreciate this person again trying for the compositions. I just think there needs to be a little bit of work on that. And I think that maybe some of these suffer from some pretty crooked horizons.
But also like these little poles sticking out. I think that shot 4. Green, first of all, is off the charts crazy. But you have to be really honest with yourself and be kind of the asshole with yourself. And you ask yourself when you see that photo, is this like, if I saw this photo and I didn't take this, would this be like, I can't believe this photo? Because that's all the photos within your portfolio should be like absolute banger. So at minimum, you could maybe remove those little bits of the pole. I don't know if they realized that was acceptable for this contest or not. But this shot, it's got a lot of problems when you zoom in on it. It's very blurry, a lot of color, weird artifacts. And so in my opinion, when some of the other images in this portfolio are stronger, this may not be a good portfolio image. But I also get and respect the fact that they might want to show the variety that they shot. And if this is the only tornado photos that they were able to get that year, they want to include that to make this portfolio. That's why, having a portfolio full of banger images is incredibly difficult. And to have them all within 1 year is asking quite a lot. Some people manage to get one good shot a year. And I know a lot of us struggle with that. So I want to say kudos to being able to get even 5 really great shots. So
Agreed. All right. Well, this person had a few of our favorite photos that we saw in other categories already. But overall, a pretty spectacular year in terms of structure, and some pretty crazy lightning being on the Morton tornado. I think if anything, just the editing overall feels just a little bit kind of harsh and contrasty, kind of like looking at this whole portfolio, a lot of like maybe intense color. And, this one feels like a pretty well edited image and not a lot of added, saturation or contrast. And then this one, I know there's a dusty day, and there are a lot of people probably trying to do things where they're doing dehaze, and the color feels a little bit tough on this one to try to bring out some of those details despite all the dust. So it's kind of almost like two contrasting styles there. But some of these lightning shots were pretty tough to get in the kind of conditions with this really bright lights and all that. So I think that this photographer had a great year in the stuff that they saw, and some of these images are really, really good, and some of them just some of the editing might be just a little bit off. And but man, these are great storms and great capture. There's great color that might be a little bit saturated, but maybe a little too much foreground. But overall, a real nice year. All right, I'm going to the next one here. Another Linda, I'm going to let you talk about this one just because I've been talking.
Sure. I think this is a pretty neat portfolio. It's got a lot of cool shots, and I can tell that some thought and consideration was put into the compositions. There are some shots, of course, that are weaker than others, and I probably would just not include them. But I would say my main thing this year is that I'm seeing a lot of people trying to kill the entire color space. So take it easy.
Yeah.
that you don't need to push up against the boundaries of the Rec 709 space to get your point across. And it doesn't really look that way IRL. Now, sometimes skies are absolutely crazy, and I have to take the saturation out just to be able to whatever. And that's sometimes something that you have to do. But a lot of the shots in this are really nice. If I just look at them as thumbnails, they're super nice. I think my favorite one in this, I know you guys are going to say maybe the one with the horses, but the one that I like the most is number 7, the one with the,
I like that
the
one
lightning. And this is kind of my favorite one in there, and it's a bit more tastefully done. But again, don't be afraid to reel back on the editing a bit. Just because you're not spending an hour or 2 or 8 editing something doesn't mean it is not good the way it is. I think sometimes people will get an image on their computer, they kind of like it, but they're like, well, I didn't do a lot. And then they feel compelled to kind of keep going with it until it gets into some kind of state where they feel like, well, now I've done enough editing. And so I would say maybe bring that back a little bit. I know everything on a lot of social media platforms really seems to like super saturated things. They also look good when they're smaller, but just as an image for a photography contest, I would kind of steer people away from that if I had a say in it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be super harsh, but
no, I think it's what we all deal with, and you're speaking from experience that we've all been through, which is, sometimes you just sit there and keep editing, and you're like, I need to, and then you walk away, like Dennis said, and come back, and you're like, whoa, I did too much.
Here's my recommendation. If you go, okay, just off the bat, I just want to share this. You go in and you're like, oh, saturation plus 20, 30, wherever it ends up, or contrast plus 30, 40, go back and just reduce it by half. So if it's on 20, you put it back on 10. If it's on 30, you put it at 15. Don't go crazy, because you're going to regret that later.
Try to process your image without emotion. That is what I try to do. If I process an image just after the magic in the sky happens, I overdo the image every time. I need some time between the event and between the processing, because I'm too excited for the shot, maybe
Yeah.
from or from things that happened on that day or so. For me, it's better when I go on the processing with a cool head and without any emotions on it. Yeah, sure, without any emotions, it's impossible, but not just when the emotion is right, fresh.
Agreed.
Yeah,
That's a good point. I've probably been victim of that myself, and takes great. If you're going to do it with emotion, it's going to, edit with emotion right after something happens. You need good discipline to be able to control, not going crazy. So, all right, here's another one. I think, as a overall whole, I can kind of tell that this is the same photographer. It's this image we talked about already, where, to me, I thought maybe there could be a little bit more, just slightly more like vibrance and contrast, and they all kind of fit that same build. Like it's not bad, the editing, but I know that you could maybe just do it like just a smidge more. But I appreciate some of the, this is just exploding thunderheads, but the attempt at getting some saguaros and a house in there. I really like this shot.
It looks like a snapshot relating in
It does
the rest of it, and I don't feel that it has a good place among the other images in this portfolio.
I agree. I think of all of them, that maybe I think this one is my favorite, because I feel like it's really, really tastefully edited, where you probably could have gone harsh with it. You probably could have done a lot of stuff to try to bring more details out, but it doesn't feel like this person tried to do too much. And it's very moody, and might be a little soft on that lightning bolt, but everything else feels like it's okay. But I just kind of like that moodiness of it. And this was tough. I feel for this person, because this is the spot that we had to pick, and I was there, and power lines and stuff. But
so you picked this spot. You pulled over there with the car, and you said, "Go, guys!"
Yeah, and it was pretty. And the lightning got really scary. So
that's a good example for you have no choice.
Yes. Yeah.
I wasn't there on this road on this day. Also,
you were there. Yeah. Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah, and we were on the one hand, we were lucky that the storm was moving right on the highway, on the road, but because there was nothing else. But on the other hand, no foregrounds and stuff. It was very challenging on that day. Yeah,
agree.
But kudos to capture the lightning. On this one. Yeah.
Another just attempt at a foreground, kind of like the thumbnail. I think when I zoom in, these are pretty small images, like they're only 1600 wide. So when I look at them, I feel like they're a little fuzzy, but that's because they're exported really small. But I think I think I like this one better without maybe the sign in it, just the tractor and the lightning. But overall,
also, I feel like maybe some people got inspired. Who was it last year that had
Amy Howard?
Amy Howard, and I feel now I'm starting to see these trucks. And people are like, "Oh,
that's cool." I love it. I love seeing that inspiration from one year bleeding into the next. So nice. I guess this one lightning bolt in the distance, this storm photo, but I love the mood and all that stuff, and nice little images from chasing. So. I think, now that you kind of pointed out, when I see this, I love boiling clouds, so I'm not thinking about it, but it does, it is a little bit of a snapshot, but I like the thoughtfulness and the tasteful editing that this person did over the course of the year. So, all right, here's another one. It seems completely different than like some of the other ones, because it's all vertical. So just a little bit. Anyone want to talk about this one?
I appreciate vertical shots because it remembers me on movie posters or so. You may know in landscape photography, I almost do every shot in vertical. And that's the reason why I love vertical shots, because it remembers me of movie posters and stuff. But I like it here because everyone every single one is in vertical, so it stands out for me from the portfolio side. So, but the editing, yeah, you can see it. It's from the same photographer, every single image, and so yeah, so it's very. I'm missing a word for this.
Cohesive?
Cohesive?
Yeah, we both
Yes.
said cohesive.
you understand me? Yes, this one was the word. Yeah. But overall, maybe for my taste, it's a bit too dark.
Yeah.
That's for my taste. So I like it's a bit more bright, but it's just a personal opinion. So, but what a great year this photographer has. So lightning bolts, supercell structures, and he is up to, as he is has thoughts about getting a good foreground.
Yep. Yeah, actually really like this one. Now that I'm looking at this foreground, the leaves look really soft, and I don't know, they really stand out. Like, that's really nice. I feel like there's maybe some harsh editing here. It feels really strange with the light here and not there, and maybe that's the way it was with the sun and the rain, so it's kind of hard to know. I like this photo with the person, and actually these the corn leaves are kind of like the other one. I like the way it's almost blurry in the front and then goes into focus, and the mammatus kind of crisscross. This is also another like crisscross foreground. So, but yeah, I think just overall for me, it just, some of the editing feels just a smidge harsh, and the heavy vignettes make it tough. I also have a little bit, I like vertical shots, so I agree, and it works well in some cases, but I do think in a lot of storm situations, storms are more of a wide angle kind of thing, and so that's a little tough. So.
But in this particular case, it works. It sticks out because every single one is vertical.
Yep.
And that's unique in the set.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's this one. Linda, do you have any feelings?
I have all the feelings. No, I think this is a great portfolio. Of course, it's got a couple of those Badland photos in there.
Yes.
Also, just kudos to Paige for getting an address at any given time of day or night to be in the shot down a dirt road, potentially getting mauled down by a car coming.
Yeah.
But no, this is it's got a very good, I think what's nice here, other than the two shots from the Badlands there, it's got a good representation of just different storm phenomenon from different parts, and they definitely went all over, right? Like we know that we got this thing in Arizona, we've got Dakotas. So I think in terms of that, it's quite nice, and you can kind of tell that the editing is somewhat cohesive. We can pick out things that I would change or edits that I don't like. Of course, some of that is just like Dennis said, a personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep it more reasonable, and sometimes there's little artifacts and things like that. But overall, it's a nice portfolio, and that's why we picked it.
That's why we did. I think you're absolutely right. I do like the variety. You can tell that it's from the same photographer. I think there's some images like this one and the Badlands that were tack sharp, and then there's some like the tornado that suffered from obviously being in a pretty crazy situation and probably trying to handhold a shot makes it a little tough. So, but overall, I love all that variety.
Also, I want to add, I don't know, most of the time when I chase alone, or sometimes I go with other people. And I was with Dennis last year a little bit, and we were out driving around, but then you have 4 or 5 different people that are all looking for particular types of shots. And so I can imagine that you're on the side of the road, there's something incredible happening, but you maybe want to be in a slightly different spot, and you're trying to communicate with other people while trying to keep all your ducks in a row and still trying to get a technically good shot. So I sometimes think if there are a lot of people around, or if there's a lot of commotion, then that kind of keeps you from really thinking things through when you're getting a shot, and you're just taking a snap and hopping back in the car because we have to go to this next spot. And sometimes that can be a little bit difficult to deal with, and I realize that. I just wanted to recognize that.
No, I do too. I think sometimes for me, that's why when I chase solo, I feel like I'm at my most like self, like you can make mistakes and pick where you want to go, or go like, wow, everyone stopped there and we should stop here, but you know what, I'm going to risk it to go further for a spot that I may not get what I want, but it's going to be better than anything here. And that's what you can do by yourself. But that when you're chasing with people, everything changes, and it definitely makes things tougher. So wow. So this person, congrats. Incredible, variety here. We got vertical shots, there's sunsets, there's lightning, and there's a dust storm, and so some nice variety. I think some of my favorites, like this one, it's kind of hard again. I think maybe the you know what, it's actually really sharp. The editing or the export feels like it's maybe sharpened, so it's kind of hard to tell, but this is pretty incredible to get that giant lightning with that. This dust storm, I feel like this is really nice and tastefully done, and I love the road aspect of this. This is just that's really nice. But I think there's some other ones. This one suffers just a little bit of some editing issues where it's really, I guess I don't know. It feels like this could be haloing from bringing up the shadows, or maybe it's foggy clouds. I guess I don't know for sure, but it definitely looks a little bit like maybe there's some noise stuff going on here, but that bolt hits there and there's a little upward streamer, my God. And then this one as well. So yeah, a nice little mix. This was even like, look at this bolt had like 3 landing points right there. The heck. So nice variety. And I think, from the like color palette, you can kind of tell it's all from the same person. It's got a little bit of I don't know how to describe the tone, but yeah.
I would call it gritty.
Gritty?
Like a gritty kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I like it. All right, we'll go to the next one. This is probably the opposite of like maybe having all the variety, which, it makes it tough if you live in a place where you're kind of just shooting mostly lightning at night and there's not much, else you can do during the day. But this person obviously saw a lot of spectacular lightning storms and did best job they could with capturing it. This is a lot of lightning. It says a 30-second exposure, so I'm sure probably maybe they all happen at once, or maybe there were 2, but little upward streamer coming out of the water there. Little bird frozen right there, which is kind of cool. But I think this one, maybe the composition is a little off. This is just, I think like, a couple of these from the thumbnails, when you see it from the thumbnail, you're like, wow, and I think some of the editing and the blown out stuff's just a wee bit harsh, but I'm just such a sucker for things that are like really cool weather, situations, and having all the rain here, but then these bolts are obviously big clear air bolts coming out the side is just so magnificent to me. And this one is kind of the same storm that someone else had. I think unfortunate position kind of gets that tornado kind of tucked, or that water spout kind of tucked away behind the mountain, which kind of stinks. And I think I just like this one because of these draping pileus caps over this. Yeah. It is crazy at night. Usually it's like one little dome, and this is over all of it. At night, that just seems really spectacular. So I think maybe the only thing with this one, maybe some of the editing is a little harsh, and it's just the variety is just not there. It's just really a lot of the same stuff. But some insanely good lightning strikes. So not just, it's just the same stuff, but really, really good stuff, but just not a ton of variety. All right. So here's another one. Linda, do you feel like talking about this one?
Yeah, sure. Well, and I feel like some of these spots I've been with my feet in these exact locations.
Yeah.
Maybe at a different time.
Yeah.
Probably when it wasn't as good. I would say that, the variety is a bit slim because it's mostly like lightning. And this person is probably either lives in Arizona or just likes to chase in Arizona. And so they may not have had the opportunity to travel a bit farther, or sometimes you just don't have the means to. But as far as like, hey, what does Arizona have to offer in terms of storms? This is definitely a nice series of shots. I could tell that they were all kind of edited by the same person. I feel that the edits might be a bit too close to the boundaries of where color should not be. A bit
Nice way to
oversaturated,
say
a bit too punchy. I don't know. I just try to come
Yeah.
up with asshole ways to say things, really. But I just feel like sometimes it's a bit much, and I don't know if that's because you're
Yeah.
trying to do a different edit, or you're trying to make things look a certain way, even though it doesn't really lend itself to that particular type of editing. But overall, it's a nice set of images, and I think some of these images I'm quite jealous of. It's super hard to kind of predict that and to be there ahead of time. And then if you also have to work outside of that and still try to put that all in a day's work, then you're doing pretty good. I like that they got a shot at the airport with the lightning, of course.
Yeah.
So it's a nice portfolio. I would say the editing leaves a little bit to be desired for me. And of course, if we're talking about it, just photography, storm photographer of the year, then I would say that overall the amount of variety is a bit slim.
Yeah. Nice, but great spots, great locations, great storms. I really, really like this image a lot, with the mountain, the cactus, the light on the road and winding away. And
I feel like I can feel that photo.
Yeah.
It's because I've experienced that myself, and like just the heat of it, like
Yeah. This is one of my favorites, and I like that Mamatis, and I'm assuming if they were all taken in Arizona, that's not always easy to get out here. So yeah. So kudos, well done. All right, we've got 3 more left, and there's a lot of, I would say, I can't decide if it's like a lot of variety. It feels like it is. There's lightning, there's cows, there's churches. So and supercells. I like the attempt at some of these ones.
Is that the Morton? It almost looks like a Morton tornado underneath that one. Was it 4?
Yeah, this is yeah, this is Morton. I will say, like, for this one compared to maybe some others, is edited in a more natural way, because they didn't use dehaze a ton to try to make that tornado pop, which is, I have a photo somewhat, similar, and I wanted to do that. So because I want people to know there's a dang tornado in there. It's tough not to want to do that. So this is a little more kind of tastefully done. Yeah, I had that bolt too. It's a weird bolt. I don't know. It's just weird.
I like it.
I like it.
The portfolio is quite nice overall. I think the editing is a little bit more reserved, but it still has a style to it that is probably unique to this person.
Yep.
Maybe the one that's most heavily edited, in my opinion, might be 6. It has a lot of this kind of aqua there in the sky. It's a little much looking for me. But overall, it's got a pretty good variety of shots. It's got lightning, it's got supercells, it's got tornado, it's got churchy thing with Mamatis, and I would just also say that clarity slider is bad when you go extreme with it in both directions. So if you're doing a negative clarity and getting weird black halos around stuff, I'd probably reel it back just locally in that specific spot a bit. But I think it's a really, really good portfolio overall.
Yep. All right, here's our last 2. Well, there's I would say a lot of variety in this one, because we got tornadoes, fire, supercells, dust storms, and lightning. So this person obviously got around to different places. Just a lot of great variety of a lot of great storms. Some of these, I think, might be just suffer from a little bit of noise and editing issues, but man, this one is I know it's taken by right off a freeway, but there's something really, I would maybe have gotten rid of those red lights there. I don't know, but a lot of action going on there with the dust. And it's like, I love that saguaro right there. That's really cool. Great lightning. This one may be too much foreground for me, but this one sucks. The bolt pretty blown out. Maybe some haloing with the editing here, but
it's like weird lifted shadows on the mountains or something.
But what a strike! This is really cool. I know it's just a rainbow and some rain, but this light coming through, just lighting that up, is really interesting. It feels really unique. And I guess these were like little fire nados, which look at that. Looks like two of them in one. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild. It's a good variety. A lot of different stuff here, and a lot of good, a lot of the big storms, I think, of the year. If you're going to, I mean, I don't always know what the ones are overseas. Like you were already saying, Dennis, there's been a tornado in France, and sometimes that's hard for us to always hear over here. But a lot of the bigger storms over here this year, this person was on. So, and here's our last one. Again, a lot of looks like a lot of variety on this one in terms of, you got tornadoes and lightning and rainbows and some vertical and some wide and all that. So I think we've seen this one from another photographer. I think I might like the other one just a smidge better. This might have been cropped to the left a little, or no, I don't know. That with the barn leaning is kind of interesting there. But I think this is the tornado shot that we saw earlier in the tornado photo of the year. It's a great shot. I think I just crop it up a smidge. This one is pretty nice. I think the road right here, you can kind of see that, but this was just a crazy storm that I couldn't believe happened, and don't know where I was, but beautiful storm. This one is really great. I don't know.
I like it.
I like it. I just the wheat almost seems out of focus, most of them, but it gives a little motion, and some of it is like sharp.
And how they're bending into the storm, so it's nice.
It's nice. I like that. This one feels like it's heavily edited, but I think I've seen someone else's photo of it, and so I think it was big blobby downbursts, and there might be some issues with some of that with like, this little brightness hit there, but I mean, I think this was kind of how it looked according to someone else's photo that I saw. So I think I see like a little bit of a dust spot up there, but wow, that's crazy. I think we saw someone else. Oh, maybe this was the photo that was entered before, or maybe someone else's, but and this one too, we talked about that one. This one, I mean, it's like I really like the foreground, and this one I feel like maybe it's just a little too much, or maybe they're trying to get this bush in here. You might have been able to pan up just a little bit more, just underneath it. But what a spectacular year! I mean, if I was getting that tornado and this lightning and stuff, I would have been really, really happy. So, yeah. So I think that's it. That's all of the photographers of the year. So now we got a lot of work to do. And then we got to figure out who the I forget top 6 are, I think. So good luck to us doing all the voting over the next week. So thanks for everyone who entered, and good luck.